Hi guys, my name is Chris Irwin. I'm partner and CTO with Foresight IT Solutions, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about a product we've created called CloudConnect. All right guys, before we jump into our UI demo, I wanted to quickly level set on what is CloudConnect and why Foresight IT Solutions decided to build it. So to that end, CloudConnect is a SaaS-based offering provided by Foresight IT Solutions, hosted in Azure, and it's really designed to help increase collaboration in multi-tenant environments. Because multiple tenants can be Office 365 tenants, they could be Office 365 and Google, any combination of that. And really our goal is to allow the cross-pollination of attributes between those various tenants. Those could be, to the end goal of a global address list with contact objects. It could be, resource sharing, etc., using B2B objects in Office 365 or /Azure Active Directory. And there's a whole host of reasons that we may want to enable this. So we've seen a ton of different scenarios pop up across multiple environments. It could be state and local government where we've got to more easily collaborate between various organizations. In the education space, we've run into scenarios where Department of Educations need to host services in a cloud-based environment for various districts, or large university systems, 10, 15, 20, even 50, 60 universities sometimes want to be able to collaborate more effectively, want to have unified global address lists across the system and be able to selectively populate that. CloudConnect's a great opportunity for that. We've even seen it used to accelerate mergers and acquisitions in healthcare and commercial environments. So very, very versatile tool. Very simple concept. What it allows you to do is connect these multiple systems together using CloudConnect as the glue. And in some instances where needed, synchronize objects down into an on-premise Active Directory to support things like Azure Application Proxy for legacy authentication. So really simple concept. First and foremost, you create these synchronization policies. We'll see this in the demonstration. After the sync policies are created, we'll go through and it will connect to your source data source. It'll look at the scoping group, and it'll pull out all of the resources that were in that group. Based on what you set up in the synchronization policy, it's going to process those membership changes. It's going to remove folks that have been taken out of the group. It's going to add new people and create those objects, and data will flow as defined in your policy. It's going to do the basic CRUD operations, create, update, delete, etc., all based on what is defined in that synchronization policy. And if you have configured it, it will go ahead and queue those operations up to happen in the on-premise Active Directory. So really what we're trying to do here is simplify the process of connecting these disparate directories, whether it's an education institution or what have you, and at a minimum provide synchronized address lists, B2B objects, and those type of things, just to enhance collaboration across environments. So now we're going to jump in and we're going to take a look at what the UI for CloudConnect actually looks like. We'll go through synchronization policies and the other options that you have available to you. All right, now we're going to do a brief demonstration of the CloudConnect user interface and a brief demo. First thing you want to do is navigate to portal.foresightIT.com. That'll bring you up to our sign-in page. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and enter in my username here, and then I'm going to put in my password. When we hit sign in, this is back-ended by Azure B2C. I'm going to be prompted for multi-factor authentication in this particular case. I'm going to have it send me a code. I'm going to get a text message in just a second with a notification code. There we go, 302101. And that's going to go ahead and sign me in. While it goes through that authentication and validation process, if you notice in the URL up here, you'll see that it's using Azure B2C on the back end, and it's going through the Azure multi-factor authentication sign-in workflow to make sure that the portal is secured and locked down. Very first thing we're going to notice when the hub loads up is the home page. Home page today is going to give you information on Foresight, and then you'll see all of the various solutions over here on the left, PIM Extender, Cloud Migrator, etc. Today we're going to look at CloudConnect specifically. So when we go into CloudConnect, What the portal and the hub allows you to do is set up administrators for the various solutions that you're utilizing. So you can have a different set of administrators for one solution versus another. If I want to go through and add additional administrators, I can simply click on the Add Administrators tab, and I can go ahead and hit Add here, and it'll give me a prompt, and I'll be able to go pull up those administrators and add them to the portal. And then I can select or unselect, etc. One other thing we're going to notice, so the very first page it loaded on, you may have saw, is the data sources. This is really what drives CloudConnect. Data sources are going to be the data points or repositories that we're connecting to, whether those be Azure Active Directory, / Office 365, Google on-premise Exchange, and then there'll be additional features that we're adding in. So if I want to add a data source, I simply hit the plus sign here. I'm going to give it a name. This is a friendly name, whatever I'd like it to be. And then the rest of this will change depending on what option you select. So if it's Google, it's a slightly different experience and needs different information. Exchange is going to be a little different than Office 365. If you're utilizing Office 365 / Azure Active Directory, you're going to provide an application ID, an application secret, and a tenant ID. Those are the three pieces of information that we need in order to create a data source. One other thing you'll note here, and this is a feature that we've added in, if you go to delete a data source, you will have the opportunity to have CloudConnect remove any objects that it's created, whether those be B2B objects, whether those be contacts, users, etc. You can have CloudConnect clean up after itself whenever you delete the data source. We're not going to do that today right now. The next option we see is send data source. What this allows me to do is share a data source with partner organizations. This was really designed for, large school systems in mind, departments of education, or other large affiliated organizations where you may have multiple individuals that need to access or multiple organizations that need to access a directory, and you don't want to create a new application for each and every one. You want to create a single application in that directory and be able to share it with multiple people. And so what this allows you to do is go in and select the data source, hit share, and I can generate a token and I can send that out to the receiving organizations and allow them to access that application. It allows me a single management point for it. If the secret needs to change, etc., I can only have to manage one data source, and I can share this out as many times as I need to. The receiving data source is the opposite end of that. If you've received a data source, it'll show up in here. You get an email notification, and you simply import the one-time use token, and it'll link you to that data source and let you utilize it. The next tab we see down here is On-Prem Agent. One of the things we had discussed previously is the ability for CloudConnect to manage on-premise Active Directory accounts. In order to do that, we utilize on-premise agents. I don't have any in this particular setup here, but what it allows me to do is go in and add an on-premise agent. And what CloudConnect can do at that point is if you've got B2B objects that are in that tenant, it will create them in the organizational unit defined for the agent, and it will manage the UPNs for them so that you can take advantage of features like Azure Application Proxy. The next thing we notice on the list, and server status kind of goes hand in hand with on-prem agent. I don't have any on-prem servers, so there's no status to see there. Really the core and what you'll spend most of your time in would be the synchronization policies. A sync policy really defines how data is going to flow between these two repositories. So first thing I'm going to do is give it a name. I'm going to define whether it's active, whether I want to send invitations or not. I'm going to select the source. So in this particular case, we're going to do the Foresight demo, and I'm going to do the destination is going to be New Foresight. What it does as soon as you select the source is it goes out and it pulls a list of groups from your tenant. You're going to scope who is in scope for this policy via a group on the receiving side. So I can go search, I can hit the drop down. I'm going to pick a group that is going to be included for my source. So in this particular case, I'm just going to pick demo users. Everyone in the demo users group in the source tenant will have this policy applied to them and will be synchronized to the target tenant. I've got some different options available down here. We'll see this enable guest accounts. What this allows you to do is define whether you want to create new objects based off of existing B2B objects. Sometimes this is useful if you've got a large, multi-tenant environment. You've got multiple systems and you want to create a mesh. We can easily enable that. We've also got the option down here to define what we're going to create. Are we going to create contact objects? Or are we going to create B2B objects? And the information over here on a workflow screen will change based on what we select. So we're looking specifically at B2B objects right now. For B2B, we've got a couple of basic options. Do I want to sync them on-premise? Do I want them to show up in the global address list? It's a simple checkbox, and they'll show up in your GAL. I don't have the rest of the on-prem stuff because I don't have any on-prem agents configured, but if I did, I would have a few more options underneath here. And then you've got your basic data synchronization policy. These are the most common things. I can go through and I can select everything, or I can do one at a time, individual. In this particular case, for like display name, you're going to get a few alternatives. You can do last name, comma, space first. I can do last name, comma, space first, and then I can append a constant to it. Maybe I want this to be company A. And so in my GAL, the display name is going to be last name, comma, space, first name, company A, so you can append that. Makes it easy to find users in the GAL, etc. I can go through and do given name. Maybe I want it to be the same as source. That's a very common thing for given name, surname, but I want to use a constant for the company name here. I can do that as well. In addition to that, if these don't meet your needs, which it will for most folks, but if it doesn't, you have the ability to come in and create custom attribute flows as well. These are direct flows. These are actually reading your extension attributes in the directory, right? So I've got employee ID, date of birth here. So you can capture those custom attributes if they do exist in your environment. And I also have the ability to create custom attribute flows. So in this particular example, let's say I want to take display name and I want to create a custom attribute for it. So I want to do given name, space, surname, so it's going to do first name, last name, space, and then I want to add the company attribute to it. Let's do company. And so now it's going to create a custom flow that's going to be given name space, first, last name space, company name, and that'll get pushed into my display name. So it gives you the ability to come in and create custom flows off of other variables. It gives you a ton of flexibility in being able to flow data between the various systems as you may need to. So really this is the core. You can also do contact objects as well as B2B today. We're looking at extending that out to provide other attribute types as well. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about error logs and the run statistics. So we will be capturing run statistics. Those will show up under the run GUID here. That's going to give you statistics on what has actually happened in the run, how many users we discovered, how many got modified, etc. And then we've got an error log that shows server-side errors. So if there's anything that happened during the run, you'll be notified there. That'll show up in your little bell notification here, and you'll be able to go through and see those notifications as they show up. Hope this was informative, and I appreciate your time.